Gotta love technology. All right. Well, welcome everybody to Bridget and Katie's One Simple Change call. I'm going to attempt to share my screen here. I have had a ton of luck with technology today. So here we go. Can you see my screen?
No, I just see you.
Great.
Your beautiful face.
Here we go. How about now? Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Here we go. All right. So we are going to talk about one simple change tonight. And my name is Michala Petersen, and I'm a pharmacist from Minden, Nebraska. And I have 4 crazy kiddos and live on a ranch with my husband and 300 of our favorite females right now, which are cows that have all had babies. So anyway, I was introduced to a simple change about 5 years ago, and it has completely changed our life. I used to think that getting healthy was daunting, but it certainly does not have to be, especially if you do it one simple change at a time. So we're going to hear some awesome stories tonight. And I am going to kick it to Bridget first, if you want to share your story with us about how this simple change has helped you.
Okay. Am I muted still?
Nope, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. So we started our simple change. Actually, it kind of started back in, November, December-ish. I just knew that my kids weren't getting enough fruits and vegetables, particularly our middle child, Claire, who's got a terrible palate and just likes to eat crackers and things that are dry. And so I would notice that she would fill up on junk when she would get home from daycare. And then when it was time to do dinner, she would be full from crackers or whatever that she wouldn't eat her food, and her fruits and her vegetables would end up thrown on the floor instead. And so I started praying about what I could do or how I could help our kids. And it kind of became a resolution of mine in 2019. And then lo and behold, Katie reached out to me in January and she was like, hey, I'm not sure if this would be for you, but it's been great for our family. And so I checked it out and seemed simple enough and foolproof. So I thought I'd give it a whirl, and it's been awesome for us. We've noticed some nice changes for our kids, changes in their taste buds, where now they're actually craving and asking for fruits and vegetables and seconds and thirds at dinner, which never happened before. And so it just, I guess for me as a mom, just gave me peace of mind knowing that even if I was messing up other things, this was at least something that was easy, and I knew they were getting what they needed with their gummies. So it's been great.
Muted. That's so good. And Katie, you have been on a health journey and you have quite the story. Would you go ahead and share your story with us, and then you can roll into the next part?
Yes. Hey, I have a question for you. Have you ever had a time in your life where you were exhausted, overwhelmed, and just defeated by your present circumstances, and you wondered how God could ever use it for good in your life? My name's Katie Hoffer, and I'm a wife and mama of 3 beautiful kiddos, ages 6, 3, and 1, from Kearney, Nebraska. And before I became a full-time stay-at-home mom, I was an elementary school teacher. And although I loved my job and I was very passionate about it, it had always been my dream to be at home with my kids, to raise them full-time. And so I'm very fortunate to be able to be allowed to do that. So my journey with Juice Plus began about 1.5 years ago, and I was really not doing well at all. I lived in a chronic state of pain, fatigue, and muscle weakness. It hurt to stand, it hurt to sit, and it even hurt to breathe. My hair had started to fall out, and I was about 15 pounds less than I am right now. And it had gotten to the point where I had stopped standing and I was sitting down to do all my cooking in the kitchen, and I had stopped blow drying my hair because I could no longer hold my hair dryer up above my head for that amount of time. As you can imagine, my kids were watching copious amounts of TV, and this was not the life I had envisioned. being their full-time caretaker. This problem was further compounded by the fact that my kids had their own severe allergies to many foods and environmental factors. And so I was cooking all of their food from scratch. I made all of our personal care products, detergents, cleaners, lotions, soaps, body washes from scratch. And I was constantly monitoring our environment to keep them safe. I remember specifically sitting at my kitchen table with my head between my hands, praying and asking God for healing for my body, if it was possible, so that I could really thrive in my role as a mom and a wife. Then I was talking to a friend of mine who had similar issues with her children and their food allergies. They had seen a lot of success in a short amount of time. It made sense to me. It was concentrated fruits and vegetables in a capsule. So we thought we would go ahead and give it a shot. But like most parents, I was not looking at what it could do for me. I was looking at what it could do for my kids and hoping for them. What we noticed was significant. I was 5 months pregnant when I first started, so it was my sole prenatal. And 30 days into our journey, I realized that I was no longer in any pain. I could breathe easily, and I had strength to do normal things like brushing my teeth and walking down the hallway. And I praised God and I cried. So although I jumped into the business at first for the discount, we quickly started sharing what we had come to know, because we feel that everyone deserves to know that there is a lot of hope in what God has already put on this earth in the form of fruits and vegetables. And so now we just share with people however we feel led. And whenever we can see where it could make an impact in someone else's health journey or finances or their ability to dream again. So very fortunate to be on this journey with all of you. Did you want me to kick off the first slide, yep. Michala?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So we all know that healthy living used to be simple. The world is not the same as it was about 100 years ago. Healthy was just fresh vegetables from grandma's garden, drinking out of the hose, running around in the dirt, staying up late, eating a home-cooked meal at the table. And that is not the world today. Today we do a lot of fast food, convenience, and treats are no longer birthday parties, but just part of everyday expectation. So how are you taking care of yourself? I think we can all agree that our health is made up of these 4 things. So how are you doing with eating real food, not boxed, not packaged, but if God made it, do you eat it? Exercise, what works for you? Drinking enough water, getting in that rather than your caffeine, energy drinks, the things that we tend to go towards in today's society. And also getting that sleep in, that 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. So there are 2 startling trends in our world today that we want to talk about. The environmental toxins in our environment are increasing, and the food quality is decreasing. How many of you have ever heard of the term perimeter grocery shopping, where you go towards the outer perimeter of the grocery store to get real food, and what's in the middle is actually where the majority of our American culture gets their food from, which is not real food.
Come on. There we go. So oxidative stress is one of those topics that I know in pharmacy school I used to cringe thinking of this. But each cell in the human body is hit 10,000 times a day by mutagenic oxidants. And the way that we think of oxidative stress is much like when you burn a log in a fire, it has a byproduct, right? The byproduct is ash. And so every cell in our body also has a byproduct of burning energy, of eating, of sleeping, whatever it is, we have that ash. So another example is when you cut an apple and leave it on the counter, like in this picture, it browns. But what happens if you drizzle lemon juice on the apple? It doesn't brown as quickly, right? And so oxidative stress leads to inflammation. Inflammation leads to all disease. And oxidative stress is the culprit behind aging and wrinkling, immune system dysfunction, inflammation, cancer, heart disease, and brain disease. So what can we do to prevent oxidative stress? Here are some other causes of oxidative stress. Exercising, you actually produce more ash when you're exercising than if you don't exercise. Eating fast food, flying across the country produces more radon exposure, more oxidative stress than getting 100 chest x-rays, which is kind of crazy. Medications produce extra toxins because our bodies are not really necessarily made to process those. And so what happens is our liver and our kidneys have to take that, whatever the substance is, through 12 different conversions to get it to a form that our body can utilize. And by the time we've done that, we actually produce more ash, if you will. Now, does that mean that there's not a place for medication? Absolutely. I'm not saying that. I'm recovering from a badly broken leg, and I was very appreciative for modern medicine during that whole process. But stress leads to oxidative stress. So do toxins that we're exposed to, and we talked about that. And so what combats oxidative stress? It is antioxidants. And what happens is, if you imagine your whole body full of polka dots, which are the toxins, which are, oxidative stress. And what happens is when we eat fruits and vegetables, the antioxidants latch onto those toxins and keep it in a holding pattern. Then we get thirsty and drink water, and our liver and kidneys are able to whisk away those toxins for good. So the news isn't that fruits and vegetables are good for you, it's that they are so good for you they can actually save your life. Here is a short list of the phytonutrients in an apple. There's actually 10,000 phytonutrients in an apple, compared to like 16 phytochemicals or phytonutrients in a multivitamin. And actually, if you want to Google the Iowa Women's Health Study, it was stopped along with another study 2 years short because the multivitamin population had a higher incidence of cancer and chronic disease than the placebo group. And that's, again, because your body has to take that multivitamin or that synthetic substance through 12 different conversions to get it to a usable form. But the synergy of the 10,000 phytonutrients in an apple is where disease is actually prevented. You've heard an apple a day keeps the doctor away, right? And the person that eats the most servings of fruits and vegetables is the least likely to die of any disease, period. So did you know that today produce packs way less of a nutritional punch than it did before? And actually, 80% of the foods that we eat did not exist 100 years ago. And that should scare all of us, right? Because we aren't getting healthier in this country. We're actually getting sicker if you look at autoimmune diseases and stuff like that. So we actually need 7 to 13 fist sizes of produce every single day. Some varieties, especially in Nebraska in the dead of winter, have lost 5 to 40% of their nutrition content, and that's before we cook it. So then if we cook it, we further degrade the enzymes and it gets less nutritionally concentrated. So vine-ripened produce is so important. And this was what it looks like, 10 fist-sized servings of produce every day. How many of you get that? Raise your hand.
Yay.
Not many do, right? Okay, so what's a way that we can grow our own produce indoors or outdoors all the way through the year? My favorite way is with this awesome tower garden. Grow your garden, grow your brain, your home pharmacy. And this is really what introduced me to our one simple change. I was in search of a tower garden. You can grow tower gardens anywhere. 98% less water, 90% less space. They yield 30% more. They grow 3 times faster. They have no soil, no weeds. And especially where I live, and the most important factor to me is there are no 4-foot bull snakes that have ever been seen on a tower garden, which is awesome, right? That's why I hated traditional gardening. And so I was introduced to this by a pharmacist, and she asked me if I'd ever heard of the one simple change that we all added that we're going to reveal in this next slide. Maybe not, maybe 2 more slides. And I said, you know what? We're really healthy. I am never going to juice. My family is healthy enough. I have 4 kids, but I thought we just had the normal stuff that is normal. And within 3 to 5 weeks of adding this one simple change that we're going to tell you about, I went from having a gagging 2-year-old that gagged at anything green and he was all of a sudden asking for seconds. I had a 4-year-old that struggled with focus, that was crawling up on our laps and asking us to read her book after book. I had energy that I had not even had, ever in my life. And I was all of a sudden more lean than I was even playing college volleyball. So I knew that our body was changing at a cellular level. I, at that point, did what any good pharmacist would do, and I dove into the research. And the reason that I'm on this call with you tonight is because a mom of a kiddo with cancer sent me a message and asked me how long I'd known about this and why I wouldn't have told her sooner. And I realized that as a pharmacist, I took an oath to do no harm. And by not telling people about this, I absolutely was doing harm. So from then on, I prayed that God put in my path the people who needed me most, and he's done nothing but show off. So now the big reveal, before we get to that, as a pharmacist, I always had 3 questions that I asked when approached by any supplement. And that was, is it safe in pregnancy? Is it safe in cancer patients? And would you give it to your kids? And I'd never gotten a yes to all 3 of those questions until we discovered this. So it's backed by science, has results, makes sense. And now, Katie, will you roll out what Juice Plus is, please?
Oh, sorry, I was muted.
You're good.
So Juice Plus is 30 fruits, vegetables, and berries. What you see is what you get. It is picked when vine ripened, which is really important because most of the nutrients develop in the last 2 to 3 days before picking. And most of the produce in the grocery store has been picked way too early and then sprayed to look like it's ripe. And so you're not getting as much. That's why we need to eat so much produce today to get what we would have gotten 100 years ago. It is then juiced, flash frozen, or immediately dehydrated, right?
Or immediately, or immediately juiced.
Right. So, and then it's encapsulated so that all the enzymes are left intact. So when you consume it with food, they become digestive enzymes, which is amazing, I think. So you're getting the variety of the rainbow and everything you need. And then we also have our complete shakes. They're low glycemic load. So helping with stabilizing your blood sugar, not spiking it. I love to drink mine first thing in the morning so that I can wake up at a safe rate and not crash like I would with my coffee. It's vegan and non-GMO, gluten and dairy-free, plant-based protein blend, and it has a powerful amount of prebiotics to feed that gut bacteria, so amazing for healing and repairing the gut lining.
It's good. So why is Juice Plus unique? Why did it appeal to us? Number one, it's 45 whole plants. It has a food label. It's not taxed in states that don't tax food. There are thousands and thousands of phytonutrients. The label would actually go around the world if you were to list out every single ingredient in all the produce. Non-GMO, dairy-free, gluten-free. I'm going to pause on NSF certification, because that is NSF certified means a third party research group independently certified that there is nothing in the capsule that's not on the label, or in the complete that's not on the label. So no herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, any heavy metals or anything like that. They also verify that everything that's on the label is actually in the capsule or in the product. And third and foremost, that it does no harm. So I would caution you, I would check whatever you're taking in your supplement cupboard. Be sure that it has NSF certification. You can go to nsf.org and you can look up whatever you're looking for to see if it's NSF certified, but it's so important. We now have over 35 published clinical studies, which is more than any drug anywhere on the market. It is the most thoroughly researched product in the world. And if you don't believe me, just ask the trusted little Surrey that my kids think is, everything that Surrey says is right. So there is no sugar in the capsule. So it's perfect for people on different diets or diabetics, cancer patients. We know that sugar is the main feeder of cancer and anyone limiting carbs. We also have a plant-based omega blend, and as a pharmacist, I knew that it was important to get a good omega supplement, but I had never found one that wasn't heated to high temperatures, which makes the oil rancid eventually, but it also does not degrade the heavy metals and the toxins that are present in the oil. So this is omega 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. Ironically enough, I didn't know this even as a pharmacist, that fish don't produce omegas. Fish eat the plants, and then we butcher the fish for the omegas. So unless you're eating 5 servings of wild-caught fish every week, including the skin, you are with the other 98% of Americans that are deficient in omegas. And these are important because in order for our brains to function properly, we need the proper amount of omegas. And I cannot tell you how many people in my world have started on the omegas and been able to get off an antidepressant, or need less anxiety medication, or they lose that brain fog, or they just feel more like themselves. And that's because they were omega deficient. So let's talk a little bit about the science. I don't know how many of you are science geeks, probably not many. So I'll be talking to the one person in the crowd that likes science maybe, but these are all the institutes that have researched Juice Plus. Big name universities that would not put their name on just anything, right? So I knew that as a healthcare professional, when 3 out of 10 Juice Plus reps are in the medical community with this long list of universities behind it, I could rest assured that I'm supporting a really high quality product. So these are all the things that have been shown or proven to do by Juice Plus. It improves cardiovascular wellness. It supports the immune system. My family is picture perfect proof of that. It improves gum tissue. We know that the gums are the gateway to the body. It reduces oxidative stress, which is that ash that's produced by the logs, reduces inflammation. It protects DNA. And that is really important because we pass that down to our kids, right? So stronger genetics equals a better, thriving population, right? Healthier skin. The study that goes along with this is a microvascular circulation study. And we think of the microvasculature and we think of eyes and kidneys and nerves and skin and erectile dysfunction in men. And so those are the things that are at risk in people with diabetes or just general aging, as we age. And that study showed that blood flow was increased to those areas by 39%, which is really important for prevention, but also for people who already have those complications. So we all want to look better. We all want to feel better. We all, we want to thrive and live our best life. It also improves insulin resistance and decreases abdominal fat mass, improves quality of life, and impacts lung health. And one of my favorite studies is the University of Maryland study. It's called the fast food study. And this study was conducted because a group of physicians approached Juice Plus and said, we know the majority of heart attacks and stroke happen after a high-fat meal. Will you study it? And so they brought 3 groups into the lab. They tested their blood pressure, fed them all the same high-fat meal, which happens to start with an M, and ruined breakfast at McDonald's for me forever, unfortunately. Anyway, they all ate the same high-fat meal and then tested their blood pressure again. And what they found was a 50% vasoconstriction that lasted 4 to 6 hours. So you can now imagine why, after you eat a high-fat meal, you feel like you're in a fog for 4 to 6 hours. All of those trans fats are like clogging the parking stalls in your brain, right? So the good omegas can't get in there. And also you have this fatty blood that's pulsing through your body. So this study was only 28 days. They sent 3 groups home, one with a placebo, one with the fruit and the veggie blend, and one with the fruit, veggie, and berry blend. Brought them all back at 28 days, did the same thing, blood pressure, high fat meal blood pressure. The placebo group was the same. The fruit and veggie group, though, had a 62% reduction in that vasoconstriction. But most impressive, the Orchard, Garden, and Vineyard, or what we call the trio blend, had less than 2% vasoconstriction. Now, this is super important for prevention. This is really important for people that already have cardiovascular disease. But as a mom that's busy, I'm not perfect. That's why we take Juice Plus, so I can go to bed at night knowing with the peace of mind that I did what I needed to for my kids that day. But, how many times do I run them through Runza and then drop them off at the gymnastics gym, knowing that their hearts are pumping so much harder to pump that fatty blood through. And then with the addition of the trio, knowing that it was really as if they had not even eaten that high fat meal. So really, really a cool study there. Katie, will you tell us about the Family Start study, please?
Yes, this is my favorite study, and this is what helped me fall in love with the company. It truly is the company with a heart. We have this children's health study that is about 1 million deep now of children that have been given free product with an adult sponsor to participate, because we know that this is the first generation that is not expected to outlive their parents. So for up to 4 years, a child between the ages of 4 and 18 can get free fruit and veggie product with a qualifying adult purchase. And then it is a very simple questionnaire where we have partnered with St. Jude Children's Research Hospital to collect that data and make an impact in our children's health this next generation. One of the things that I just want to zone in on this is that 66% children that participated in our study were said to have visiting the doctor less. And I would say that that was very true in our family's own story. We've maybe gone to the doctor once or twice for a sick visit in a year. And so phenomenal as a parent to be able to not have to take so many sick days and know that your children are bouncing back quicker. When we do get sick, it's less intense and it's shorter lived than it was in the past. And then also I wanted to highlight that 89% children were more aware of their health. When they are consuming this every day, they're asking what's in it, and we're talking about it, and they're excited about it, and then they're developing a palate for it. And so they're craving those fruits and veggies, and it's just a wonderful opportunity to educate your children on what's going to make a huge impact in their health for their future.
That's true. So if you heard something tonight that is going to inspire you to eat more fruits and vegetables, we are thrilled. That is awesome. The world needs more fruits and veggies. And again, the person that eats the most servings of fruits and vegetables is the least likely to die of any disease. If you heard something tonight that inspired you to add the same one simple change that we did, we are thrilled as well, and we can help you with that. We'll stay on to answer any questions that you have. And third, if you heard something tonight that inspired you to think of other people in your world that could also use more fruits and vegetables, we are on a mission, and we are looking for wellness warriors just like yourself to help us out with that. So we can talk to you about that too. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Your health is an investment, not an expense. And isn't that true? This is the only place that we have to live, is right here in this body. So thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm going to stop sharing the screen and stop the recording. Have a great night, everyone.